We're essentially the truth busters, or the myth busters, if you will, of the oil and gas industry. We are an education and outreach arm of the Independent Petroleum Association of America, and we cover positive developments occurring throughout the country that are directly or indirectly related to the production of clean burning natural gas here in the United States. And in addition to that, we kind of just fact-check studies and claims that are put forward by folks who don't want to see this process continued, and check their claims based on sound science and research. And you can find us on the web at www.energyindepth.org.
Energyindepth.org. I sure encourage people to go take a look. You guys are busy lately. See, I follow you on Twitter. Seems like just about every day you got 4 or 5 different things where you're calling folks on the carpet, mainly in the media, for misstatements and improper angles on stories and things like that. How do you get through the day? There's so much of it.
Very quickly. We get into work and then we're going home shortly after we got here, it seems like. But there is a lot to do. This process has really taken off, so to speak, in the past decade or so, as operators throughout the country have increasingly utilized directional drilling, horizontal drilling, in combination with hydraulic fracturing in shale plays throughout the United States, including in Colorado. And unfortunately, it seems that the media coverage that covers the issue hasn't had a chance or an opportunity to consume all the information that would lead to accurate reporting. It's interesting that you bring that topic up, Sean. Not too long ago, the University of Texas at Austin conducted a study, and they looked at the environmental impacts of hydraulic fracturing and then the media coverage associated with the use of the technology. And what they found was pretty interesting. Looking at national media coverage, by and large, they found that coverage uniformly negative by a degree of about 2/3. And they also found something interesting that went along with that finding. They found that the negative coverage on hydraulic fracturing was combined with the fact that the one-sided negative coverage often failed to report what scientists and regulators have said and uncovered about the process. In fact, only 18% of newspaper articles covering hydraulic fracturing referenced some credible scientific research. So it's easy to understand why they might be misled by some claims that we see detractors presenting.
Sure. Well, I mean, the numbers kind of speak for themselves, though. It's sort of a sad indictment of the news media that they're sort of falling down so bad in this area, especially when you've got public support for the technology and for the industry, considerably higher than that. You would think that would bring some balance to it. But what do you think is kind of the biggest myth that you guys confront on a daily basis, or the biggest misconception that people have about the technology that sort of makes its way into news stories?
That's a great question, Sean. Sometimes it seems like some of the anti-development folks are kind of just throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks and then trying to run with it. But, recently I'd say, water issues, as we've seen in a recent Denver Post article, are always a concern of folks, both in terms of use and water quality, to make sure that that's not impacted by this process. And lately, there's been an increasing focus on if hydraulic fracturing has any connection towards seismicity or earthquakes.
Earthquakes.
That's right.
That's kind of a tall order, I would think. What say you on that?
It is. Well, the conversation really has been spurred by a USGS study that's yet to be released. The authors looked at increased seismicity throughout the mid-continent area and tried to determine if there was potentially a man-made cause for some of the upticks that have been seen recently. What they had found was that there could potentially be a link between some of these events and the injection of wastewater in underground injection wells. It's important to note that underground injection wells have been in use in this country since the 1960s. The United States Environmental Protection Agency themselves classify this activity as an economical and best management practice of disposing of wastewater from a multitude of industries. There are over 100,000 of these injection wells throughout the country, and only a small number of which are actually used for the disposal of oil and gas wastewater. So that's what the study said. Of course, the media coverage associated with that study took some liberties that the authors of the study have actually had to refute increasingly over the past week and a half.
Well, it's interesting, that seems like it's something that you guys are doing yeoman's work on, John, and you're going to be busy in the future. Talking with John Krohn, Communications Director for Energy in Depth. John, I appreciate you being with us, and we'll definitely have you back again to kind of talk about this issue in the future. Of course, like I said, I think you're going to be busy because there's plenty of people out there not doing their job when it comes to reporting the facts on the oil and gas industry.
Well, we always look forward to a good conversation. We come with the facts, and whatever anyone else wants to offer, we're willing to listen. But like the saying goes, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but they're not entitled to their own set of facts. And, Sean, just thank you for having me on today, and look forward to being a guest in the future.
No problem, John. Thanks a lot. John Krohn, Communications Director for Energy in Depth.